I'm going to share this out real quick, so get ready. And Facebook. Okay. Right, I'll be right back. I'll be right back, you guys. Okay, I'm back. So I see one person's in the chat. Hopefully they've watched some of my videos so they know what we're doing here. For anybody who doesn't know, I am doing a series on how Star Wars has been affected by cultural Marxism. The activists at Lucasfilm and or who were hired by Kathleen Kennedy, including Kathleen Kennedy herself, and what they did to really just destroy what was there. And the excuses were always great. And then you find out later that they're basically gaslighting us about what they were doing. It's for kids. Yeah, so you can indoctrinate them, right? Right, Pablo? All right, okay. Because that's what you said to that podcaster. And you know, you can't get away with that. You can't get away with it anymore. So I did, let's see, I did an overview, talked about the activists at Lucasfilm. I'll probably talk more about them at some time, maybe today. And then I did I was gonna do one, both Han and Luke together, but it just got way out of hand. So Han Solo and then Luke today. I dropped the video about Luke today. And why I did it the way I did it. Hey, Cross. Hey, whoever you are, Crystal. If you're a troll Crystal, okay. But because if look, you all know what gaslighting is, right? You all know what gaslighting is? These people are very, very good as gaslighters, right? They can pretty much come up and lie about what they're doing. And the only time I ever saw any of these cultural Marxists that work at Lucasfilm actually be honest about what they were doing was Pablo Hidalgo telling that podcaster and his co-host they were getting rid of the EU and they were going to indoctrinate the kids. With what? With what? Right? You've got Kennedy saying that it wasn't good, the Star Wars they were making wasn't going to be for us. Now she could imagine that she was making Star Wars for kids, but the Star Wars they came up with was not what we wanted, or I mean, it wasn't something you'd want your kid to watch. Like, for instance, tomorrow I'm going to talk about Leia. What they did to her, and because look, when you look at some of the, you guys saw some of the flow charts and memes I found for critical theory, patriarchy, misogyny, LGBTQ plus rights, intersectionality, intersectional feminism, that's fourth wave feminism. It seemed to me, and I had a conversation with somebody recently, that instead of going out to create their own thing, which they should have done, which if they were actually creatives, they came and squatted on Star Wars. Not because they're fans, but because they wanted to take it away from the cisgenders and the heteronormative straight white males and just the fucking, this gobbledygook, garblegook of word salad they come up with, because they're not creative enough to come up with something of their own. Because if you look at what Marxism is, it kills the individual, and you cannot be an artist if you're not an individual. One of the things a teacher, an education professional said is the one thing that the American education system does really good, does really well, is this. It kills the creative in all the kids, in the kids. If you look at the kids coming up who are creative, and I know a couple, especially one artist in New York City, and she's amazing. She's an amazing artist, but a rare person. Rare. She's not an activist. She is actually an artist. Because when you're creating art, there should be a joy in there, in that. There should be something right here that you want, that is beautiful and can't be kept away from people. You want to share that particular thing with everybody. The best filmmakers, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, do that. John Ford did that, right? And when you're looking at, like, let's say, Justina Ireland's novels or Claudia Gray's novels, they're either anti-white racist rants or completely dipped in LGBTQ sexuality filth, right? Filth. Am I right? I'm right. And when you look at it and you're like, this isn't good. This is not good writing. This is not good storytelling. You know, scream about diversity and then you can't even write it right. Star Wars isn't diverse. Yes, it is. It always was. Yeah, and it's that you've got to love and you've got to find joy in what you're doing. And when you look at the psychology of someone who was raised to be a Marxist, was raised to be a critical theorist, was raised with all the word salad. I mean, look at Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg, I think, was emotionally abused by her parents. This is why she's such a mess, right? And I also think she's probably got fetal alcohol syndrome too, but that's just me. They're not happy people. Look at all the videos right now of raging white leftists screaming about the ICE raids. And then you see them talking down to Mexican Americans or Black Americans in this sort of paternalistic thing that they bitch about white people in general for. They're the biggest racists on the planet, right? They are. Yet we have to sit here and mollycoddle these people and listen to them. And they're absolutely the most miserable human beings on the planet. And I don't remember, when I was a kid, I don't remember liberals being that miserable. You know, I mean, Jane Fonda's miserable because she allowed herself to be abused by Tom Hayden, right? He was the one that basically got her stuck so far up the Viet Cong's ass that, you know, and she's never been happy since. That woman's never been happy since. I do not know one leftist woman who's happy. I don't know one leftist creative, and I'm looking at the Story Group, I'm looking at Kathleen Kennedy, who are happy. They're not happy because they feel powerless. And the one thing that cultural Marxism does is it makes them think they can be powerful by claiming things that weren't theirs, right? Like, tomorrow I'm going to talk about how a section of a certain community has claimed Leia and is now squatting on the character. Like, you know, you go on vacation, come back, and people are squatting in your house. Like that. Okay. because they want to take it away. Because, look, let's talk, I'll do this tomorrow too. Let's talk about feminism. We went from, we want the right to vote, we want the right to have a job, and we want the right to at least be independent and to be treated fairly, equally fairly. And equal doesn't mean the same. It doesn't mean the same. We're not, men and women aren't the same. To feminists screaming that men who fetishize women's bodies should be allowed in our locker rooms. They should be allowed in women's sports, like boxing. They should be allowed to go into a Target women's bathroom in a skirt and high heels. It's like, yes, we have this shit amongst us here in my little town. Okay, seeing at least two was like, and it when you get someone like J.K. Rowling to call you out over your lack of, your non-feminist views of trans women. They're women. No, they're not. That's a guy who fetishizes women's bodies. If you got a dick, you're not a woman, okay? There you go. And no amount of screaming, ranting, and raving is going to make me or JK or anybody else, Nancy Mace, Anna Paulina Luna, go along with your insanity. We're just not going to do it, all right? Nobody has to. Greg Gutfeld's not going to do it. Bill Maher's not going to do it. It's just like, you got problems, dude. Go fix them. And when Disney bought Lucasfilm, and they did The Force Awakens, and they did Han and Leia dirty, they left the gate wide open for Rian Johnson. And Rian Johnson introduced Vice Admiral Gender Studies, which allowed a certain group of women who hate men to think they had ownership of... No, you don't. You don't. This is a shitty movie. It was poorly put together. It was filmed on the first draft. And what's George Lucas' big lesson from Francis Ford Coppola? Rewrite, 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 rewrite. Because the first draft is going to suck. Well, guess what? The first draft sucked. And it's like, Kathy, are you aware of how bad this really is? Or did it ever occur to you? Again, Johnson allowed a small group of very bad people to take ownership. And then, of course, we've got Rose Tico's Maoist speech at the racetrack. And it's like, and the subplot to nowhere. I mean, the whole subplot with her and Finn should have just been cut out. That or completely gutted and done something different, because they're there to find a hacker or slicer. They find the slicer, but nothing happens. Nothing happens. And you're like, but we did get to see anti-horse racing messages, and we did get to see, an anti-Western, anti-capitalist rant by an Asian girl who was treated terribly by the director because he wanted her to look dumpy. I mean, she looked like a potato, Let's talk about something else. Leia. Apparently, she's not supposed to be beautiful anymore, right? But then if you look at some of these women, like take for instance Bella Ramsey from The Last of Us, the non-binary potato, right? We're supposed to look like that, the non-binary potato. And what they're doing is erasing femininity from women, right? That's what they're doing. They're telling us, you don't have to be beautiful, You don't have to have pretty hair, pretty nails, do your makeup, do all this stuff. And you shouldn't want to attract men. That's what they're I mean, look at some of the women that work at Lucasfilm and you tell me if they didn't get the message. Somebody's wife, I might add. Take a look at her sometime. I'm 10 years older than her and I look 10 years younger. You know, this is what happens when you're not, look, these girls are told, they're taught to be uncomfortable with their bodies. It's not, you're not a fully formed human being. Women are, it's just the terrible messages. And of course, when I was a kid, it was all the supermodels. That's so unattainable. Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. The only people saying that it's unattainable are women who are envious, right? And now it's be as ugly as you possibly fucking can. I mean, well, what they're doing is they're just trying to erase women. I mean, you've got, I mean, if they had their way, there wouldn't be any women. Again, Bella Ramsey, think of some other, characters we know. Molly Damon, Star Wars Explained. If she could be a guy, because she does have pronouns in her ex-bio, she'd be very happy being a guy. In fact, I wouldn't doubt she'd transition someday. I'm not kidding. Look at the women that used to pick on Ethan Van Sciver, Renfamous, the blue-haired land whale, all right, Gail Simone, Leslie Headland. There's another non-binary potato. And that whatever angry-looking bitch she's with, I mean, it's like, they're desperate. They're desperate to erase their own femininity. Oh, I think Ethan chased her off. He ran her off. He was, I think he actually called the law dogs on her, and she backed off. But but look around. Look at the actresses now. Where is the glamour? It's non-existent. There is no glamour anymore. I think if Mikey Madison and Sydney Sweeney, but it's like, that's it. That's it. That's it. I mean, and for another one, the chick who played Bella in Twilight. Oh, she's a real ugly little dog, and she's done that deliberately to herself. Right? That was deliberate what she did to herself. Why? Because she's not comfortable being a woman because she was told not to be. Oh, yeah, well, I still think Angelina and Ava are pretty. Nowadays, a woman can be in her 50s, and if she's got the money, she can, take care of herself, and there you go. But the problem is feminism fell into the cultural Marxism, and these women went to schools where the feminists had gone from, we want the right to vote, and we're equals to men. We're different, but we're equals. To be as all right. Here's a question for you, Cross. Do you remember a activist named Trigglypoof? She was, oh my God. She had to weigh 400 pounds. Her stomach was so big. Do you remember that? It looked like she had her ass on backwards. I'm not kidding. And she was just, oh my God. And That's what they want women to be now. You know? And so many girls, like, if, you know, when I was a kid, we had Carrie Fisher, we had uh, Christy Brinkley, we had Nicolette Sheridan, and we had, oh God, Pam, God, how many? We had Michelle Pfeiffer, we had Sigourney Weaver, we have we have had so many. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, just got a spam phone call again. You know, we had all these women who were kind of role models to us in rock and roll. Lita Ford, Stevie Nicks, Linda Ronstadt, Dolly Parton. Well, not rock and roll, but you know, Dolly. You know, we had Joan Jett. We had Susie and the band, Susie Sue. All these, you know, they were happy being women. I mean, what's really funny is, yeah, if you ever want to see a Taylor Swift fan's mouth drop open and freak out, play Kiss Me Deadly for them. Lita Ford. Play Kiss Me Deadly. Because the first line is, you know, I mean, it's for a woman to say, to do, we did that in the 80s all the time, right? And, you know, now it's like, they're just, the beauty that women have is gone. And, oh, and it's just like you're kind of sitting here, you're going, what happened? I mean, what happened? What happened was these kids were told by people. Oh, Kim Basinger, yeah, that's another one. Well, she's probably still trying to process the fact that she was married to Alec Baldwin, or as Dennis Miller likes to call him Alec of Baldwinia. Okay. You know, it's like, what happened? Well, you look at the 1990s, Hillary Clinton was not and did not try to be attractive. She dressed like a clown. You look at some of the congresswomen like Rosa DeLauro. If you guys do it right now, Google Rosa DeLauro, and I saw her in real life. I mean, every few days you'd be walking the halls of Congress and the Wicked Witch of, was it Connecticut, would be there and be like, ah, you know, scare the hell out of you. You know, she was there. It started. I had Grok do her as the Wicked Witch, and it works. It was funny, but look at them. They were the role models for all the rest of us, right? I mean, even Winona Ryder, of all people, what at least tries to stay feminine. But Taylor Swift does everything she can to kill any urge for girls to be beautiful. Christy Stewart, what is that? That Stewart girl. Christine Stewart, with the girl from Twilight. I can never remember her name. I mean, and then of course you've got Ellen Page, who decided she wanted to be a guy, right? How long before she decides now she wants to go back because she doesn't have enough attention anymore? Okay, think about it. That's what's going to happen. But by erasing, and I'm going to use something that a guy that I remember very well from when Breitbart was writing, Andrew Klavan. Christine Stewart, no, she doesn't try to be feminine. Did you see her haircut recently? She looks like a weed whacker hitter. She got into a wrestling match with a weed whacker. I mean, she's just disgusting. She's just fucking disgusting. But they all are. Again, Bella Ramsey, the non-binary potato. That's what she looks like. That's exactly what she looks like. And it's like, you're kind of going, why? Why would they want to erase women? Because ultimately, they hate women. Oh yeah, I mean, that comes from a very deep and I'm a dark place that I'm not going to get into, but there's something driving this. And the feminists that are pushing for trannies in bathrooms, you know, it's how is that feminist in any way, shape, or form? Oh, is that the one she made with that lesbo who was in the third Mandalorian season? That Katie O'Brien. What a pig she is. God. I mean, truly, what an oink. You know? What a fucking oink. Why don't they like looking like girls? Why? Because they don't want to be women anymore. They don't want to acknowledge the sexuality they were given by God because for some unfucking believable reason. And there you go. And it's sad. It's terrible and sad. It's really kind of depressing. But you know, when you got these the critical theory stuff is so deeply embedded in the American culture, and it exploded after Obama won his second term, because that's when we started getting the woke shit. I mean, Hollywood's always been left leaning, but they never pushed the weird stuff on people. And I don't know how we're going to get rid of it, but it has to be removed from schools. It really, really does. I mean, video of a black woman going into a classroom and ripping down the pride flag with the tranny thing on it. Do you blame her? You don't want your kids growing up and seeing that shit. You know? You don't want your kids going to a school where the admin hides the fact that they're giving your kid puberty blockers. And they do that. They do that in California. By law, they can do that. I mean, well, Joe McCarthy, it's always like this. Joe McCarthy, and I'm gonna say Alex Jones, really good at screaming fire in a crowded theater, right? To the point where you're like, you're a clown. And they turn out to be right about things, certain things. McCarthy more than Jones. I can't stand Alex Jones. Don't at me. I think he's an idiot. And you're sitting there and you're going, when could we have stopped this? The problem with the communist witch hunts in the 50s is that they didn't go about it in the way that they should have, which is very methodically, right? Methodically. You don't just go in and say, this person voted this way and blah, blah, blah. Methodically, carefully to find out what really is going on. And they probably could have, stemmed the tide, because a lot of those guys that went to school in the 50s taught the kids in the 60s, right? This cultural Marxist shit, right? And then they invaded into the 70s. And, I went to a Catholic school, then I went to a public school, and it was really funny. In 1984, when I was a sophomore in high school, was I a sophomore or was I a junior? All right, all right, in 1984. So I was probably a junior. And we voted for, we had our U.S. government class, we voted for president. And everybody, all the students but one voted for Reagan. See, cultural Marxism was not prevalent then, right? It was still tapped down. It was in the colleges. It had not yet gotten into the grade schools and the high schools. Now it's everywhere. Where they've got, tranny day and all the rest. It's like, what? Would you let your kid go to drag queen story hour, or would you rather have your kid go to veteran story hour? All right, think about it. What are they going to learn? Right? And the reason why they have that drag queen story hour is because they want kids to be intrigued and confused, right? That's what they want. But this is exactly what those aged German philosophers, those Marxists, wanted to happen. And I'm not sure if they would approve of all the weird shit going down, but that's what they wanted, right? So we've got cultural Marxism taking over the LGBTQ plus groups, feminism, and those are the two biggest problems, I think. I'm sure that Kathleen Kennedy does sit up at night wondering what she did wrong. And it's like, there isn't enough hours in the day to go through everything you did wrong. Biggest mistake she made was first mistake, not letting George be part of the sequel trilogy. Second thing, not walking into the writer's room where Larry Kasdan and JJ were, I don't know, probably playing paper football and going, what are you guys doing? This is horrible. You can't do it this way. You can't do this way, right? And where's Mark? Well, every time we have Mark show up, he just takes over the movie. It's his movie, And then of course, the first going for the first the Last Jedi with the first draft. Hiring Rian Johnson to begin with, right? And the fights with the other directors like Gareth Edwards and others, it's like, what? Well, I think that I think she does know she fucked up. But she's not brave enough to say, I fucked up. She's not brave enough to say it, because if she did, then if she says it out loud to people, then it's real, right? Then it's real. All right. So anyway, I gotta go. I was bored, so this is why I did a live. I gotta make dinner. So you guys have a good evening, and hopefully we'll hear more Sparrow stuff coming out. They said something about Dave. They had an article in the Hollywood Reporter about the succession at Disney, and they talked a little bit about Kennedy, and they mentioned Filoni, and then they mentioned Carrie Beck, and I went, no, I can deal with Filoni all day long. I cannot deal with Carrie Beck. She is fucking Kennedy Jr. Now, unless she has decided to swear fealty to George and Dave and John. She was on the HR list that we got from Sparrow when they sent it to Cameron to get fired because she was. I'm not gonna tell you what she was doing. I'm not gonna tell you because I'm like, if she was a guy, she'd be fired. All right. So I don't know what's going on, but I honestly, I don't think it's going to be Carrie Beck. I think those are just names that are Holly, fucking rumor mill. Yes, it is. It's very egregious. And she really should have been fired. I mean, she really should not be there. And I don't know, maybe Dave had a come to Jesus moment with her and said, look, you want to work here, you can't do this stuff anymore. All right. Anyway, all right, I gotta go. And if you're in the LA area, just stay away from where the riots are happening. I'm not surprised this is going on. No, California does not belong to Mexico, so get the fuck out. If you can't be bothered to come here legally, get the fuck out. Wait a year or two, then come back legally, or stay the fuck out. Those are your choices, right? And if you're a criminal with felonies on your record, we're going to send you back to the prison you were let out of in Venezuela or wherever. All right. This is it. No more. No fucking more. Right? Anyway, I gotta go. You guys have a good evening, and who knows, maybe we'll get some more news. I don't know. See you guys around the galaxy.